Greetings and welcome one and all to what is likely going to be a fairly short feature update video for Cataclysm. That is right, there is an update out for it. The new version is 0.C.1 and it is, from all accounts, compatible with the previous version. So I will be updating Izdar's story from the lands of Bryn to the lands of Cooper, Cooper being the working title for the new version. Now, I usually don't do these sorts of update videos. Usually I prefer to be playing the game whilst just chatting about the update and kind of just working in all the new features, but the feature list is extensive for this update and it includes some absolutely amazing features, some of which we might not see for a long time in the actual gameplay. So this is going to be a chatty episode. There's not going to be anything going on in the background. I'll have a little bit of background music and you know, the Cataclysm sort of main menu. But for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to read out the change logs. For those who are interested, you can catch up on all of this. I'll also have links in the video description if you want to just go there and read it yourself. But without further ado, let us begin. Now, probably the biggest feature that has been added is infighting. Monsters now have factions assigned and will attack other monsters from opposing factions. So, for example, you might see the Fungaloids fighting the zombies. Meteorology, featuring all new thermometer, barometer, hygrometer, I'm not actually sure what that device is, as well as an all-inclusive weather station. You can warm yourself up by being near to a fire. You can change car batteries without any tools and truck batteries with just a wrench, or install a swappable storage battery case so that you can add and remove storage batteries to your heart's content. Electric cars come with these cases for their storage batteries by default now. Now that won't happen on any of the electric cars that I've got in my game so far that I've found, because these are generated when you find them. It's not going to go through and update all of these cars. Those cars are now generated as objects in Izdar's world, but when he finds new ones, then they will have those swappable cases. Many vehicle parts now are foldable, enabling you to have a more complete folding bicycle or wheelchair or anything else you want to make fold. Aiming, you can now spend time when aiming ranged weapons to improve your accuracy with it just a little bit. I'm not sure if that's just guns or with whether the bow will also work that way. There's now a death cam, so when you die you can kind of see what's happening around it, you know, for those instances where you die because you just decide, sod it, I'm in a hopeless situation, I've got this car, it's got enough fuel to carry me a little ways, there's a gas station just over there and the entire zombie horde of the world is descending upon me, I'm going to go out in a glorious fireball. Now you can, it won't just stop the moment you crash and say, oh well, you're dead. You can actually watch the carnage as things explode and zombies get splattered all over the city. We also have rifle straps, which you can mount onto your gun and then just wear it when you're not using it. Some cars have alarms now, and you can try to bypass the alarm and unlock the controls, or just take the car apart, I suppose. Better interactions with worn items, such as auto-retrieving stowed items from them, so for the sheaths and things like that. Toggling modes for vehicle turrets individually, so you can turn one vehicle on, one turret on, one turret off, things like that. Manual fire on turrets, so you can have to aim them yourself. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but that sounds awesome. Cameras are mountable on vehicles to extend the viewing area. New drive-by wireless system for cars. Remote control full-sized cars. Just let that sink in for a moment. A death wagon that you can control remotely. Death wagon, remote control. Distant gas station. Lots of zombies. I think it's pretty obvious what you need to do there. Clothing modifications as well. You can now add padding to make them more insulated or reinforce the clothing you've got. That's really interesting. I am obviously going to be playing around with that a lot because Izdar is a fairly good tailor. Now, in terms of content, there's an abandoned farmhouse now that may spawn in forests from time to time with a bit of a sad story behind it. You can tan with trees. There are now blackjack oaks that'll spawn that can provide tan bark. Electric chainsaws and jackhammers now exist in the world. Destructible bridges that can be smashed and have sidewalks and are a source of rebar. You can get straw from hay bales in farms and make yourself a straw hat if you particularly want to. The battery mods can now be removed with a screwdriver, so extended battery, rechargeable battery, that sort of thing. Wool and felt are now usable materials. There are lots of clay and pottery recipes added. Pottery? My lord. Diesel fuel and engines and pumps. Now that is very interesting because I'm not sure how that's going to work with the gas pumps. Are we going to have some gas pumps that have got diesel and some that have got petrol? Will it mess up your engine? Like, will the game care if you drive up and don't notice and you start filling your diesel car up with regular petrol, or vice versa? There's lots of opportunities for unintended shenanigans of hilarity there. Lots of comestibles and recipes for them. Buildable concrete and brick walls and roofs. That is fantastic. A lot of people have complained that when you break down a wall, you can't put back a similar wall. If for some reason it got damaged, you have to put back one that looks completely different, and it kind of messes with a lot of people in the game, but apparently this is now fixed. Flu shot that actually inoculates you against the flu. Isdar probably want to get that if you can, because his health is so low. A metal tank furniture, similar to a keg, but easier to make. Okay, that's pretty cool. Lots of new clothes and recipes for them. Large amounts of chemical and metallurgy additions. Lots of bombs and rockets. Ooh, fantastic. Interior lights for vehicles. Fire engine with a water cannon. Ah, fantastic. Occasional material drops when tunneling. Limestone so far. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So they're starting to flesh out the tunneling a little bit more. Zombie technician gained a disarm attack. Student profession, generic spiritualist content, craftable canned food and recipes, more farming content and recipes to make use of them, and even more houses. Now, as for the interface, butchering can now be used to cut up items too. Also, you can now salvage all the things in a tile in one key press. That is absolutely staggeringly awesome, because Isdar has been stockpiling clothes so he can tear them apart for leather, plastic, rags. If I just put them all in one tile, he steps on it, boom, all of them cut up. That will be really good. Item descriptions now tell you what you know you can craft with them. No more wondering what those stupid copper tubes are good for. You can now choose to ensure that items you pick up never get wielded, keeping your hands free. Useful when you want to be using a martial arts style that's primarily unarmed. Foraging just happens without prompting you yes or no every yes or no time, yes or no, which is fantastic. You can now choose to re-roll a random scenario along with your other random character generation things. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. So you're giving even more things over to fate. New item actions trigger when rooting around in your inventory. Option to merge all cash card charges into one cash card at an ATM. Oh, fantastic. I can get rid of all the millions of different cash cards I've got lying around in Isdar's inventory. Laser dot targeting now triggers safe mode. Streamlined vehicle construction. Oh, wait, hang on. Laser dot targeting. Oh, trigger safe mode. I imagine that means if you're running into a direction, you've got safe mode on, and you notice a turret is trying to sweep a laser targeter over you, it'll trigger safe mode the same it would. Oh, I've spotted a zombie. It's like, oh, I've spotted a turret. It's looking my way. Yes, that is very much yes. So many powerful characters have died because of just running into a turret. Streamlined vehicle control construction menu by adding a shape select menu to parts that have multiple symbols. Oh, that's pretty cool. Added tabs to vehicle construction menu to help manage all the parts. Sound symbols persist until the end of the player turn and can be examined for a description. Oh, so you can check out what kind of sounds it was, just rather than, oh, I know there's something over there. You can say, well, actually, that thing sounds really big. It's probably a brute, or it sounds pretty small, probably a child. I'm assuming that's what it would work like anyway. I haven't actually played with it yet. Warning prompt about activated items while sleeping or waiting. Oh, fantastic. No more going to sleep with the flashlight on. Item names now have HB bars and displayed with them. That's quite cool. Added a V menu, nearby item monsters to peek command. Added filters to advanced inventory. So basically you can peek around the corner and then use the V menu. That's quite useful. Balance. Gun mods aren't just a free-for-all when reaching marksmanship level 1 anymore. Instead, they each have a different skill requirement to install. Okay, well, that's cool. That's not really something that pertains to Isdar, but it's probably quite useful. Canes, cudgels, umbrellas now work as improvised fencing weapons. Gun stores are all locked up. Muscle-powered engines can run alternators now. Muscle-powered engines cause thirst, hunger, and fatigue. Split out more layering locations and layers, but made layering penalties harsher. Oh, okay. So there's going to be more places that you can put something, but the penalties for having too many things in one place are going to be even worse than they used to be. Nerfed shrapnel from bombs in general. They are much less effective against armored enemies. Monsters with many weapons semi-intelligently choose which one to use. Tuned skilling progression for making archery items to allow bootstrapping. Now, what I imagine with that is that, by that, it means that they've tailored the sort of skill requirements on certain items so that you can kind of start an archery character without necessarily having very high skills in archery yet, and kind of grind up using very simple items to the point where you can actually make the useful archery items. That's what I'm assuming it means by bootstrapping. Unfletched arrows no longer count as ammunition, so they don't clutter your firing menu. Some monsters have a small amount of night vision. Now you will learn why you fear the night. That is a direct quote from Dwarf Fortress. Enabled trading with starting NPCs at game start. Slowed tank bots down so you have a chance of running away from them. Thank goodness, because from what everyone has told me, tank bots are pretty much death. Zombie Master Special now picks from every zombie, not just a small list. I'm not really sure what that is relating to. We're almost at the end of the update now. Don't worry, you've almost made it to the end. Bug fixes. Doors and windows no longer hold up the roof, hopefully preventing collapse from zombies breaking into your shop. Good. That's fantastic. Because previously, they did. They were the main thing supporting all of the weight of the roof. Even if there were still walls and the doors were gone, the roof would just come down on you. Ah, fun times. Solar panels now just work as long as they're above ground and it's sunny. Fixed Dark Temple Finale by enhancing the dark worms that it spawns. Oh, that's a bit of a spoiler. Fixed slow vehicles getting stuck in reverse. Fixed free blocks when player had no block techniques. Make effects that damage all player body parts use the same armor code as other attacks. Not really sure how that relates to anything. Scale damage to armor based on its coverage. So power armor isn't ridiculously vulnerable to acid, for example. Because power armor, from what I understand, pretty much is an entire body-covering suit of armor. Fatigue can no longer go so negative that you don't need to sleep for days. Wow. Really? That's fantastic. Ah, dear me. So people could just keep going. It's like, you're really tired. You need to sleep. Nah, I'm just going to keep going. You're so tired. I've got my second wind. You're practically falling asleep. No, third wind now. I'm on my 14th day without sleeping. I'm going to keep going. Yes, I have noticed that happen on a couple of previous runs, that you could just keep going and ignoring it. As long as you weren't trying to do something like learning from a book, there was almost no penalty. Unify vehicle fuel handling. Game remembers which mutations you had activated. Fixed turrets shooting through doors, that's good. Fixed bug that was making gun recoil be a bit too low. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder how that's going to affect archery. Fixed bashing corpses with blunt objects. Right, performance. Massive, all in caps, improvement in performance when there are a large number, that is thousands of items nearby. Now this will help Isdar because he's a bit of a pack rat and our home is getting full of hundreds and hundreds of items. Added a clustering algorithm for monster hearing that improves performance when there are many or thousands of monsters on a map and making noises. My god. That's honestly horrifying. Thousands of monsters and you've just blown a whistle. Oh dear lord. Not only have you attracted thousands of monsters, previously it would lag your game. Kind of like rubbing salt in the wound, really. Iterate across map structures in cache-friendly way. That's far more technical than I imagine most people care about. Avoid saving loading sections of the map that aren't interesting, like solid rock. That is really good from just like a game design perspective. That's going to save a bit on performance. Now, infrastructure. This is the last section. Diseases are configurable and applied as relatively generic status effects. Pedal wheelchairs, paddles united as a fuel type. About half of the item types are now composable. For example, you can easily make a wearable gun or a wearable tool now. Overhaul and simplification of map data handling, simplification of gun and gun mod handling, restored building under MSVC. That's again a bit more technical and probably is interesting to most. Build performance improvements via removing unnecessary includes. Again, some more coding stuff. In fact, most of this now is coding stuff. So we've covered all of the particularly interesting changes. As you can tell from the length of this video, where I've literally just been listing the changes, 15 minutes worth of changes there. That's a lot of changes. And they're all going to be included in Izdar's game. I am going to go ahead and update the game right now and start recording the next couple of episodes. Of course, being the savvy computer user that I am, I'm going to back up first. So if things do go terribly awry, then when we get to the next episode, you may find that we're still on the same version. I'll have a very sorry story about how terrible it was. But hopefully we won't. And we will start seeing the zombies fighting the bears and the worms and the fungaloids and the goos, and all ignoring us while we just skirt around the conflict and loot more houses. But that is it from this update. I hope it has been interesting to you, and I hope to see you in the very next Cataclysm episode that I record. And yes, that is why there's been a little bit of a break in them, because this update was so close, I just didn't feel like recording at the moment. But now I am going to bury my head into the Cataclysm and get a good couple of episodes recorded. So I shall see you probably soon, along with Izdar. But until then, do take care.